story begins in a quiet neighborhood where a simple fruit vendor spends his days pushing his small wooden cart from street to street. His life is routine, predictable, and filled with silent struggles. Every morning before sunrise, he arranges apples, bananas, oranges, and seasonal fruits, hoping to earn enough to support his family. Yet no matter how hard he works, life seems stuck in the same circle of hardship. One evening, as he was returning home after a long and tiring day, something unusual happened. The street was empty, the air strangely still, and a soft mist began to rise around him. From within that mist, he heard a gentle voice calling his name, though he had never told anyone his full name. Confused and cautious, he turned around and saw a girl standing near his cart. Her eyes glowed softly, her presence felt unreal, and yet her appearance was calm and comforting. She looked like a normal girl, but there was something mysterious and otherworldly about her. The fruit vendor asked who she was and how she knew his name. She smiled and said she had been watching his struggles for a long time. She revealed that she was not a human, but a Jinn girl. Instead of frightening him, her presence filled the air with peace. She told him that his honesty, kindness, and patience had reached her world, and she had come to help him. At first he couldn't believe it. Why would a supernatural being care about a poor fruit seller? But she explained that goodness always attracts unseen forces of the universe. She offered him help not through magic tricks or shortcuts, but through guidance and opportunities. The next morning, things began to change. More customers approached his cart than ever before. People appreciated the freshness of his fruits, and word slowly spread about his honesty and fair prices. The Jinn girl appeared to him occasionally, invisible to others, giving him subtle advice where to buy fruits cheaply, which area to sell in, which customers needed help, and when to stay patient despite challenges. With each passing day, his earnings grew. He bought a bigger cart, then a small rented shop, and eventually opened a proper fruit store. His life transformed completely, not because of miracles, but because he began making wiser decisions, guided by the unseen support of the Jinn girl. But the most important part of the story is the lesson she taught him. That true success comes when a person remains hardworking and kind even in the darkest moments. She reminded him that unseen help comes only to those who keep their hearts clean. Before she disappeared from his life, she told him that her purpose was fulfilled. She wanted him to stand on his own feet without relying on her presence. She blessed his store and his family and promised that as long as he remained honest, the path ahead would always open for him. The vendor continued to live a prosperous life, never forgetting the mysterious girl who changed his destiny. His story became a reminder that sometimes help comes. Help comes from places we can never imagine. Whether one believes in the supernatural or not, the message remains powerful. Kindness, honesty, and patience can attract miracles. After the Jinn girl's departure, the fruit vendor often found himself thinking about her words. Even though she no longer appeared to him, her guidance stayed alive in his heart. He continued running his shop with the same honesty and hard work she admired. People from faraway neighborhoods started visiting his store, not just because of the fresh fruits, but because of the respect he showed to every customer. One day, an elderly man visited the shop. He was weak, carrying very little money. The vendor noticed this immediately. Without hesitation, he packed a small bag of fruits and handed it to the old man, saying it was a gift. The man's eyes filled with tears as he blessed him with heartfelt prayers. Moments like these reminded the vendor that goodness always circles back, and although the Jinn girl was not visible, he felt as if she was watching, smiling at his kindness. Life continued to move forward. His shop expanded so much that he hired 2 young boys from his neighborhood who needed work. He paid them fairly, taught them how to deal honestly, and treated them like family. Soon, the fruit store became known not just for quality, but for its warmth and generosity. But one night, something unexpected happened. As he was closing the shutters of his shop, he felt a familiar presence, a soft breeze, a gentle voice whispering his name, just like the first time. Startled, yet hopeful, he looked around. There she was, the Jinn girl standing in the same calm, glowing form. He asked why she returned, fearing something might be wrong. She shook her head and reassured him that she had only come to check on him. She told him that the real magic was never her presence, but his own character. She had only opened doors. He was the one who walked through them with courage and sincerity. Then she revealed something he never expected. There was a moment when his life could have taken a darker path. Before she first appeared, he was losing hope. One more month of low sales, one more disappointment, and he might have abandoned his cart forever. His despair had reached her world. She came not to give wealth, but to give direction, because some destinies deserve a second chance. The vendor thanked her with a grateful heart. He said his life had become meaningful, not just successful. She told him that she could no longer appear to him again, as her mission was complete. But before leaving, she gave him one final piece of wisdom, a reminder that every act of kindness sends ripples through the universe, reaching places the human eye cannot see. With a serene smile, she slowly faded into the night, leaving behind a soft glow that lingered for a few seconds before dissolving into the air. From that night on, the vendor never saw her again, but he carried her teachings like a treasure. His store flourished. His family lived comfortably, and he became a source of inspiration for everyone who knew him. People believed he was blessed, but only he knew the truth, that a mysterious, kind-hearted Jinn girl had changed the direction of his life forever. And though she was gone, he continued to honor her gift by living with compassion, honesty, and humility. For he knew that real magic is not in miracles, but in the goodness that transforms lives. As years passed, the fruit vendor's life became a symbol of hope for his entire community. People often visited him not just to buy fruits, but to seek advice, blessings, or simply a few words of encouragement. His calm nature, his gentle smile, and his ability to understand others made him respected by everyone. Many wondered how an ordinary vendor had become such a wise and peaceful soul, but he always kept the truth of his transformation quietly in his heart. One cold winter evening, something unusual happened. A young man entered the store with trembling hands and tired eyes. He looked hungry, worried, and lost. The vendor approached him and asked gently if everything was all right. The boy broke down in tears and explained that he had come from another city in search of work, but had lost his money and had nowhere to stay. Without hesitation, the vendor brought him a chair, offered him warm tea from the small kettle he kept in the shop, and packed a bag of fruits. He told the young man that one moment of kindness can save a person from giving up. The boy looked at him with disbelief, wondering why a stranger would help him so much. The vendor simply replied, "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing." But deep inside, he remembered the Jinn girl's words, kindness travels far beyond what the eye can see. The vendor offered the young man a temporary job in the shop until he could stand on his feet. Over the next few months, the boy worked faithfully, and his life began to stabilize. One day, after receiving his first proper salary, he told the vendor that he felt as if fate itself had brought him to this shop. The vendor smiled, silently thanking the Jinn girl for teaching him to be a blessing for others. Time went on, and the vendor grew older. His children took over the daily time passed, and the fruit vendor grew older. His children slowly took responsibility for the shop, carrying forward the values he taught them. They never cheated a customer, never sold spoiled fruits, and never refused to help someone in need. People noticed that honesty still lived in that little fruit store, even though the man who built it now walked slower, spoke gently, and spent more time sitting outside, watching his children grow the business. One evening, as he sat quietly on a wooden stool, his eyes drifted to the same street where he once met the mysterious girl who changed everything. The lights glowed just like that night, and a cool breeze passed by as if reminding him of her presence.